First thing, take that screw out. Fit the ram. Preferably under there. Put that back over there. Place the screw. You end up with something like that. Make sure your ram's shoved on. Go to your trailer. Position it roughly where you want, taking into account for any cross members or landing legs, such like. The further forward the better, so the nearer you get to the landing legs or the cross member the better. Once you've got that, you need a pen, a pencil. You lay it on its side. Obviously this already has one in. You need to mark roughly where that centre of that bolt's going to go on your chassis. Put a mark. And go down this side, and the same thing, roughly where it's going to go. That's it. The only bolts that need drilling are those two and those two. Just move it out there. When you've got a mark on the chassis, use a T-square or something similar. Put it in and draw a line, and the same on the other side. You get a shorter one, go down the chassis like so, scribe a line up this side and that side. Going across the top of the chassis, make sure they're all straight. It's right. Then take this, depending on the depth of the chassis. This chassis is 20mm thick, but some go to 40mm. The lower down, the better for this one. The lower it is in the chassis, the better it is. But I've got mine set there at about 15mm down, roughly. So look at that. If you use one of these adjustable set squares, it becomes very easy. Yeah, that's about 15mm down. If not, go about 12 and allow a bit of room. Then you need to drill a 4mm hole. When you put that down, draw a line, and you'll have a cross like so. Use a centre punch or a screw. I'll do if it's aluminium, and just put a bit of a centre punch there, and then you'll have the same on the other side. Them two holes should be direct across from one another, and drill them to 4mm with a 4mm drill either side. And then it's just a case of them. Remove these bolts. Don't drop your motor. That's an old one, so it doesn't matter. Remove these bolts from the mechanism. Drop it under your bench. That's a good idea. We'll get the other one out. Remove the bolt, and you have a nut and a washer. You need to take the nut and the washer off. Take the washer off, take the nut off. Put the bolt through the hole. Put the nut back on the inside of the chassis. Don't over tighten it. You need some play in that. And the same on the other side. Just come this way a bit, Bex. And then what you'll do then, I'm going to show you at this end because I'm just running out of room. When your bolt's sat inside your chassis, you line it up with that inside, connect them. So that'll go inside the chassis, and this nut you'll use to tighten up to that, and you can use it to adjust it to centre it in the middle of the chassis. Just put them down. If you look at this one here, I don't know, can you get a shot of that in there, Bex? If you look down here, you can see this one has a couple of bushes on. The bolts just come through the chassis and bolt into the mechanism there at either side. And then the mounting, once you put that in, drop it down, put your ram on and your motor, and you mount in the chassis, and then line it up. Take these out of the chassis, and your ram and all this will be in place. Drop this inside the chassis, check the mark you made earlier on to make sure it's in line. You want a slight incline up on that, just a slight touch when this is down. It isn't that critical because you can alter it on the motor. There's a pinch bolt there, you can undo that, and that tightens and clamps that onto your motor. Don't need to over tighten that, just get a little bit of nip it up. Line this up with your ram round all the way in, like so. That's sat in the chassis. Put your motor in there. Drop it down. I prefer to put this down. Some people have it that way so the body can rest on it. It's your preference. Check roughly your line there. It doesn't matter if you're a few mil out either way. Once you've got that line there, that mark, it's the same as you did with the back. Transfer the line across the chassis, mark it and mark it, transfer it down and down, and using this same thing. I'd set it anywhere from halfway, 10-20 mil down, depending how deep your chassis is. Some Tamiya chassis are 40 mil. You can set that at 20 mil and have your back one going like 25-30 mil down, whichever suits. Draw a line across, and that gives you a cross. Drill that to 6 millimeters. It's a 6 millimeter hole to take that bolt. And it's just the same. Take the nut off the bolt. Throw the nut away. Without this in place, put the bolt through the chassis, just put the nut on, just a touch, just a couple of threads showing like that, so that nut will be inside the chassis. The same on that side. Drop your mounting in. You don't need to put the motor in it just yet. Drop your mounting in, start that in your mounting, wind it in, and then on this one, wind this nut back so this nut locks on the chassis on either side. You can't just see in there. They're not overly critical whether if you don't have the nuts on. It just depends on the width of your chassis and so forth, or you could lock it to that. It doesn't really matter. Once that's in place and your back one's in place, then you can put your motor in, lift this up, slide your ram onto your motor. And what we're going to do then is show you how to fasten it to the body. Drop this down. You just take your time with them and just double check usually you don't have a problem. That bolt and that bolt are roughly at the same depth down the chassis anyway, so just come down with the camera. Is that filming?
Yeah.
And what you should end up with is where it stops like that. There is quite a bit of adjustment on the motor, so if you set your motor, this bracket happens to be sat a bit farther back or whatever, you just shove the motor forward in that and just nip it up under there, and it's fine. You quite a bit of adjustment. This is actually set pretty close, but we've put a few dozen of these, so we've got quite good at it. So what you're doing then is take your body, fit your body to your trailer. Just let me make some room. Turn it upside down. This is the way I do it, and it's what I find the easiest way. Not all the junk. If you look under there, let me come up to a point where a bit of a bracket. There's the bracket that fits to the body there. Let that rest on the body with the body in position down, like that. Upside down. Make sure it's centred here, where you want it. Some tape on it or something like that holds it in place. And then you want something to go down there and put a couple of marks, a pencil or something, and just put a mark there. And the mark under there. It is a bit fiddly, but it does save a lot of measuring and messing about. And if you can get then come under here, and you see it better, put a mark there, same on the other side, and then you can lift that up like so. Take the bolt out of there, take that bolt out, lift that up out of your way, your chassis up. Place that in position, drill 2 holes, place this bracket into position within your marks, and then drill it and fasten it. I use 3mm screws or 4mm screws through into your body to nuts, and then just put that bolt back with the bushes to connect it up, and that's roughly how you do that. And when you're finished, flip it, your body down. When that's in place and drilled, you can actually connect it up, wind your tipper this forward like so. Batteries and all sorts flapping about in. Once it's in place and it's been screwed, you look under there, there's two screws. You can fasten this up, and then you can just, when you bring that down with your ram, and fasten your ram back into your motor. Like so, and it should all sit pretty much straight and level. And then it's just a case of tightening your grub screw on your ram. Just nip it. It doesn't need to be over tight. It isn't a big issue if it just come loose a bit. Like I say, I have them where I can just slide them off like that. The weight of the body holds it in position as long as it's just slightly nipped up. Connect your wire in. You've 2 push-on connectors. I use push-on connectors there, or you can solder them. And then on these, I use a switch. Pop that back under there. There's a switch. Just that, excuse me, my cameraman. I use a double pole, double throw switch operated by a servo, or you can just use a normal speed controller. This I can operate manually without it being connected to the wagon like so. And then you just have your lead, what plugs into your receiver pack, and that will drive it off a remote by operating servo. And then that's how it should go. There we go. Any more problems with fitting it, just let me know and we'll try and sort it out for you. Alright.